Hi guys, in this video I'm going to build my second complete Stargrave crew using all Northstar minis.
Gruffy Crow.
Okay, so I'm doing this because I'm going to get some games in of Stargrave, so I want to have a spare crew I can take down at the local club and let other people use. The aims here is not to make it too exciting. I'm going to try and make a fairly simple list with not too many different troop types to make it easier for people who haven't played the game before to sort of follow. The bulk of the crew is going to be using the Stargrave Mercs box, so I've got 10 of them out here, and then we've also got some of the metals from the Kickstarter that I got. I think just because I love this model so much and need an excuse to paint it, that's going to be my captain, and then his first mate will be this girl, I think. Okay, so as you saw, the main thing I'm going to be using is going to be these mercenary bits, and first thing I need to do is write a list. So I'm using Battle Scribe, and I'm keeping it as simple as possible, so that if I'm trying to teach a new player, there's not loads of different troop types and weapons that they're going to have to try and learn. I've gone for a hacker, so they've got someone to send after objectives, a recruit, 4 troopers, I'm keeping things nice and simple, and also I think the sprue would suit that, a commando, because then I can say that's like your elite guy because he's got fight and shoot 3, but the same kind of weapons as everything else, and a gunner because a guy with a big gun, once again fairly straightforward, nothing too complicated and hard to remember. So I've started taking some bits off one of these sprues. For the troopers, I've got 3 bodies off one of the sprues and 1 off another, and I've picked these to go together because they've all got these square front panels. They're all slightly differently armoured, but they've all got a very similar sort of square front panel and they look fairly similar. And to go alongside that, I've picked their heads. I'm going to go, we've got an alien captain, and then I've picked some different heads for the troopers because we're going to go aliens. So I've got this sort of more alien one, a really alien one that really reminds me of Star Wars, and then another sort of human type guy. So sort of 2 more alien ones, 2 more human ones. But I've picked those to go together as well because they've all got similar sort of helmets. The commando, I'm going to try and make him look a bit more elite, so his helmet's got a few more ridges and shapes to it than these simple ones. So hopefully that'll make him look a bit thin. I might put a stripe on it as well. And I've gone for one of these no-nose guys. I'll paint his skin an interesting colour. And I'm going to use him with this one with all the pockets. And I'll stick some more bits and gubbins to him and he can be my commando. And then for the big gun guy, I've got this guy, nice big wide stance and lizard face, very Bossack. That's the sort of plan we're going for there. So I'm going to keep snipping bits out. For the gunner, we've got the biggest gun on the sprue. It's even got like a little built-in bipod or something there. The arms are numbered. It's something I've read about but not looked into yet. So this is 60. And there's 2 arms. There's 2 arms that were located near it on the sprue. So this gun is 17, and then these 2 arms, this one is also 16. It's a nice simple system to make sure you get the arms that match together. This is one of the more impressive guns on the frame, and it's being held out sideways style, which I think is going to be suitably commando-esque. Now annoyingly this sprue doesn't have any hand weapons. If I was designing it I would have maybe added hand weapons. But it does have this knife, so I'm going to go with that. Strangely, we've got some bits here. I would say that all these bodies, to my eyes, have got sort of heavy armour, whereas this sprue has got a sniper rifle, we've got a sort of hacker pad somewhere on here, like there, some pistols and things, which more go with the sort of light armoured archetypes. I'm not sure how I'd have done this, but if this is the mercenary sprue, I'd have maybe thrown 1 or 2 light bodies on there, but I don't know. I'm not sure how you would armour those differently to make it still look good. I suppose you could paint these armour panels as not armour panels, and that might work. Okay, for the general bods then, I'm going to use all these little snub nose guns. And I like the fact the numbers are actually on the arms, which means I can snip all these off at once. And number 7, and I can still match them up. Whereas if they, sometimes I think on frames like this you have the numbers near the connection points, which is, yeah, much harder then to sort of match them. So that's the main parts all. And I'm going to want a set of these bases as well. Now I'm already thinking about changing the premise of this video, because I do like these metal models, they're cool, but maybe I could do a whole crew in plastic. What I do need though is, I've decided, looking at the sort of theme of the rest of the list, I don't like this girl as a hacker, I want something a little bit different. I'm going to try something with one of these elf bodies, I think. So this is an Oathmark light elf body. Now the fantastic thing about Northstar miniatures is they all sort of have the same basic proportions, and they all have the same sort of arm and head holes. So this distinctly alien head could go on this elf body, and we've got something slightly weird. And then we add the bits that make up 13, which is this pistol and the data pad. Now I think this elf's got its knees bent the wrong way. So yeah, I think I've got the bits I need. I'm going to try just gluing it together, see if I can make something that I like. Actually, I think I'll wait till these properly dry, but what I'll do is I'll just sand down the level of his feet just a little bit more, but keep a little bit of the thickness of that base in there. And I'll also just carve down the sides so it all just blends into one large shoe. Okay, so I'm going to build up. So first of all, I'm going to clear all these bits. We're going to work on mould lines. These sprues don't have too much in the way of mould lines. In fact, these Stargrave ones are a lot better for mould lines than that elf I just did. But they do have one that just runs all the way around the outside. And I'll do all the weapons. And I'll do all these at once. I'll just sit and I'll scrape mould lines for a few minutes. And then I'll put the whole lot together. Okay, I lied. I got too wrapped up and I wanted to build my commando. I quite like these little backpacks that are on the sprue. This guy's already got a little back pouch. So I'm just going to get my sprue cutters and just be really brutal and just slide that off. And then add the backpack back over the top. Okay, so I wasn't convinced by this girl as a recruit. So this is a Frostgrave cultist body. Just quickly clean that up. Definitely looks like light armor to me. If you look at the patterns, you've almost got a bit of a sort of sci-fi nod to it. The way it's sort of like a diamond on the back. I'm going to go with the other sort of dinosaur face, because that kind of fits in. We've already got one of those. They're like an established race in my army. I'm going to go with pair of arms 19. Now this one, he's holding a massive bullet in this one. And I guess that could side by side with this gun. But the sprue also comes with this little knife. So I'm going to try popping the end off that hand. If I'm going to use the knife. And then we'll get the arms stuck on. And then on his wrist stump, dab a glue. And there we have it. I think that looks quite dynamic. There's a few aspects of that cult costume as well, like the neck thing as well. Now you've got the head on it that kind of pull a bit sci-fi. I think that flows quite well as a mini. I'll do the same thing with the feet as I did on the elf as well. So let's have a look at them all again. We've got Captain and First Mate, which I'm going to make psychers. I've thought also that means that they can share all the same skills, so a new player only has to learn one set of spells potentially that they can both try and use. And then we've got the Gunner. We think we have to add some more bits to him, I reckon. Then we've got my Commando, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Boyne Troopers. We've got my alien hacker and a recruit, a younger friend of the gunner. And there is my 10-man squad. I'm going to go around now and I'm going to take my scalpel and just double check all of these models for any imperfections I can see. And then there's a few areas, such as the back of here, that I'm going to have to just visit really, really simply with the green stuff, I think. Though, if I'd A, be neater when I put this on, and B, just with the right amount of carving, I think we could probably make that look pretty natural without. I was just sorting out something completely unrelated, and I found this Cyberhound, and I'm going to add him into the crew as well, as just a backup. He's kind of looks similar to the Imitation of Life ones I've been using. The difference in the details, I think, kind of makes him fit in with the Northstar miniatures that little bit better. And it kind of fits in with the sort of mostly plastic theme of the crew as well, rather than having printed bits. I wanted to show him off before I undercoated him as well, just because of the weird orange plastic he was in. And you can see, as I've glued him down and wheeled him around, it's like spread orange to the bottom there. Weird coloured plastic. Okay. So now I've got everyone undercoated. I'm going to do sort of a police theme on these guys, I think. So I'm going to start with pretty much McCrag blue everywhere. So all their uniforms, I'm going to keep the paint job pretty simple. So all their uniforms, everything like that, is all going to be started in this blue with a nice big paintbrush. And I'll still say that nothing really beats these cheap eyeshadow brushes for getting down a nice smooth base coat. It's almost a sort of airbrush effect. Okay, so I've gone around these a couple of times, make sure I've got a nice smooth undercoat. Had to switch to a smaller brush just to get into some of the nooks and crannies. But yeah, once I'm sure they're dry, I'm then using a bit of Null oil. And that'll just bring all these low lights in, bring all these little sort of folds and details out. Should work especially nicely on nice sharp uniform parts like on this guy's legs. And once again, I'm using an absolute whopper of a brush. So I should be able to work my way through these guys pretty quick for this stage as well. Okay, so now that's dry, we're going to go back in with the McCrag blue. This time more of a dry brush, just try and get those raised parts. Not like a proper dry brush though, still a little bit juicier than that. Once again using a massive brush, and we're taking them from here to here. It's subtle, but there is a difference. Okay, so once that's dry, I'm going to go in with another dry brush, this time a lot drier, and with a mix of the Celestia Grey and the McCrag Blue. And this is just a gentle one, top to bottom, just to catch some highlights. Trying to get the edge of the pouches and things like that. I think I could do with being a little lighter actually. And I can't tell if this one's too light or just too much paint. And this one's Goldilocks. That's fine. And that's the final blue, I think. I think I'm happy with that. Alright, with all that done, the next thing I'm going to think about is skin tones. I think Smiley here is going to be red. I think that just leans too easily that way. And the first mate will be white. These guys are going to be green. This guy will be grey. I think he's going to be red as well. This is the Red Skull guy. This guy's not going to have any skin, so he's going to go and stand with the robot. We've got a couple of humans. I think I'll probably do him... Oh, I might do him a different kind of red to these guys. I'll do him like a pinky, I don't know. So basically I'm just going to go around, do the base layers, and then give them all a wash on their skin. I think some of them, like the lizard guys, probably just going to leave it there, and we'll end up with something a bit like that. So for the humans, the simple skin means that I'm starting at this nice light Kislev flesh, and we're just going to dab in the flesh shade on top of that. And depending on how it looks when it dries, I might even leave it like that. Okay, everybody's skin has been given more or less the same procedure, so base colour wash, base colour again. And I think because there's so little skin on most of these shows, I'm pretty happy with that. That doesn't matter if they're sort of human coloured or sort of more red. Now I can start on the more batch colours. So obviously all the blue's done. We're going to start some white So I've already started on this guy's helmet just to see if I liked it. So this is Celestia Grey to start with, but I think I might do a few more pouches and things just to make this commando guy stand out a little bit more. Same with the heavy, less so on the sort of grunts. As well as the white, we're going to do a lot of black now as well. So that'll include the boots that we left before, any guns, and anything that we're going to do sort of metal, like the knives and things. Just a little bit like that. And I think that's going to be pretty much there for my standard troopers, including the heavy weapon guy. The knives I'll give a more solid metallic to at this stage, and then I'll re-highlight them in a sec. And the pouches on this guy, I did all white, so this is the commando, so make him stand out a little bit. Edge highlighting those knives, just to make them look sharp. And with those details sort of finished off for each of them, I think we're pretty much there with these guys. So they're still pretty straightforward. I'm still spotting tiny little things like this guy's goggles. I like a little bit of warp block bronze on a visor. But yeah, other than spotting those occasional little details, I think these guys are quite done. Very simple paint job. We've mostly just done the blue and the black, and then highlighted the black slightly differently between the sort of armour and the pistols. The conversion, this one especially, is looking absolutely excellent. I think that's worked really nicely. The commando's looking nice and striking. This conversion I'm less keen about than he is the free little character, and he does look sufficiently sort of rough and tumble. And they do look like a proper little unified force, including the dog. So next step is going to be the bases. Now this is kind of how I'm going to try and do the bases. Something I've never used before, but I've had this for a long time. I don't think it's in quite as good nick as it was when I bought it. So this is the texture paint. I've never really successfully used this. So this is my first attempt, and I think I went on a bit patchy and a bit thick in some places. But it's dried quite quickly. Dawnstone dry brush, I think, is going to just bring that alive a little bit. So I'm now going to experiment with a few ways of trying to apply this, and I'll let you know what I come up with. Okay, so I've done about half of them now. I need to tidy my desk. And I think the best way I've found is I've got a cocktail stick here, and what I've done is I've taken my knife and I've carved it so it is flat. So it's like a little spatula almost. It's got a little bit of flex to it, but not too much. But it means I can sort of, it's better than if it was round, because it means I can sort of scrape it a little bit. And I've been getting a dollop and just sort of shifting it around. I mean, this stuff appears just to mostly just be a relatively fine sand in grey paint. But as soon as I had it, I can't remember why I even bought it. As soon as I've had it kicking around a little while, I thought I'd might as well try it out. There we go, all flattened down like that. And the grey paint's got quite a lot of coverage, so it covers any bits of the base that that maybe hasn't even got the sand on. But it also makes little, you know, I've not been too neat, and it's actually also gone onto the boots. But I think that looks fine because it kind of ties the model in with the base a little bit. So it looks kind of dusty, so you've picked up a bit of this. So after it's dry, it does dry a little bit darker. I'll give it a bit of a dry brush and then just finish the rims off in black. Okay, I did a few little extra dry brushes here and there on the bases and painted those rims in, and I'm going to call these guys finished. Relatively simple paint jobs, mostly just the blue and the shaded grey, with the individual details given for each guy. But despite the fact I'm using the Merc kit, it's made it for quite a unified little force of humans and aliens. As I said at the beginning, it'll hopefully make for quite a simple little lone force, and hopefully make the individuals relatively easy to identify to someone who's not familiar with the game. With the exception of the dog, obviously these are all still Northstar minis, even if they've been made from sort of Oathmark kits and stuff. And as ever, I'm just generally impressed with the quality of the plastics. They go together nice, you get a lot of good options. And they're nice fun kits to put together, and they're alright to paint. I said they're not my sort of favourite things to paint, but it's very easy to get a reasonable standard on them very quickly. You could obviously spend a lot more time on them and go into them in a lot more detail than I have, but I don't really feel the need for the purpose I've got for this little force. So now these are all finished up, I just need to go and find someone to force to play Stargrave. And that's all for this video. Please let me know what you thought down in the comments, maybe subscribe for more, and as ever, thanks for watching, bye!